Severe weather front and center tonight, and Michigan, southern Michigan, seems to be in the bullseye. They've already had several tornadoes there, including one that has been described as a very large tornado. And we'll take a look at what's going on the radars, look at the severe weather risk over the next couple of days, and maybe take a peek at the weekend. Maybe by then all of this will be out of here. Well, in the meantime, sit down, fasten your seatbelts. It's the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which is brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is on the description to this podcast, and use the coupon code SPRING 2024 if you purchase anything from the Tempest website. Doesn't have to be the weather station. It could be other gadgets and gizmos that they have, and smart weather fashion. But use that coupon code, because if you do, you will get
10% off.
yes, they will get 10% off, Joe. This is the Joe and Joe Weather Show's 1270th episode. Isn't that's quite an accomplishment, I think. We've had more episodes than Ed Sullivan. We've had we've had more episodes than Saturday Night Live. No, right? No.
Oh, wait a
Saturday,
minute.
40.
He was on for
Oh
12
yeah.
days.
They
Multiplied by 52 weeks, it's
yeah, but
1,196.
well, they don't, yeah, they don't do 52 to they're not live every single Saturday. They're in reruns, I think, during the summer months.
Whatever.
All right. Well, here we are. Okay, so we've got a another busy night of severe weather, and everything seems to be shifting now to the east because, as we talked about last night, the pattern is changing across the United States and North America, and that means that the Great Plains, which has been they've been getting clobbered for the month, they were clobbered for the month of April. They may actually go into a bit of a break mode now, and the severe weather action is now from the Mississippi River on eastward.
Oh, was that my cue?
Try,
Hello?
yes, try,
Hello? Oh, I didn't know what was going on.
yeah.
It got quiet all of a sudden.
Okay. Well, usually that means I stop talking, you talk. You stop talking, I talk.
Oh, okay. Well, we do have weather out there, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Um, okay. So why don't I just get this done? So let's take a look at what's going on watches and warnings wise, as far as the weather is concerned. And we've got we have actually three tornado watches that are in play at the moment. One covering up into southern Michigan has been especially active today. There have been several tornadoes. In fact, if I go to SPC's website here, and we'll do the looking at their storm report. They're up to six, so six tornadoes so far. 25 reports of strong winds, I guess in excess of 50 knots, and 71 reports of hail. So it's been a very active, severe weather day, and you can see where the enhanced risk and the two tornado watches that are up, one covering eastern Illinois and much of Indiana to southwestern Michigan. The other one, that's the new one that just went up, and that covers southeastern Michigan and northwest Ohio. And around that, you've got this big area of marginal risk, and there's another small area of slight risk down in South Texas. But let's look at the radar. I actually saved this radar from an hour ago when there were four tornado warnings there in south central Michigan, and on Tornado HQ at there's one tornado. Actually, now there's another tornado warning. The most recent tornado warning. So I'm just this is a lot of this is new. I'm just trying to uh, scan through it here. So I'll go back to the tornado warning that was issued 22 minutes ago, and that was a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was near Portage, moving east at 30 miles per hour, and that was in Kalamazoo County in Michigan. And another tornado that's probably the same tornado, a confirmed and extremely dangerous tornado in this tornado warning, which was issued 7 minutes ago, and at 7:43 p.m. Eastern Time, was near Climax, or near Battle Creek, Michigan, which is home of the old Kellogg's company, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour, and that's in Calhoun County in Michigan. And now we have a new tornado warning that was issued 6 minutes ago, and this is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Monroeville, or 9 miles east of New Haven, moving east at 30. And this is in Allen and Paulding County in Indiana and Ohio. On top of that, you've got a whole bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings that are up in Michigan, in Indiana, in Ohio, also a stray one in Iowa, and another stray one in North Carolina. We also have a couple in Tennessee, which we'll take a look at momentarily. But I'm going to just freshen up this radar here, and you can see the boxes that are all popped up in southern Michigan. I guess this radar runs about 5 minutes behind real time. And just a reminder to everybody, it's coming up on 7:45 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're watching this later on, obviously this is all dated, and you can make sure that you've checked weather.gov for the latest weather information regarding severe weather in your neck of the woods. But you can see very, very busy this cluster from southeastern Michigan down into Indiana and western Ohio. We've also got a big area of thunderstorms moving up in northern Michigan and over Lake Michigan itself near Green Bay on one side, and extending inland in northwest Michigan on the other. That is moving northward, and all of that. The radar signature here shows an upper low sitting in central North Dakota, and then it's kind of driving all of this. Very, very large circuit. This is Joe. This is a very, very big circulation. I mean, look at the extent of it. The eastern flank has rain and showers over Lake Erie and Toronto, and the western flank has rain and snow in the higher elevations up in central Montana. This is huge.
It is rather huge, and something that large usually does not move very quickly. So that seems to allude to the fact that for us here in the Northeast, we're eventually going to get into some of that. And once we do, it's going to take a while to shake clear of that. But you know, we're aren't we used to this, Joe? I mean, we had some of the wettest or most precipitation. April, I know, was slightly drier than normal month, but March and February,
Amazing how that worked out, considering the first half was so wet.
yeah, yeah. But you know, it's nothing we haven't been through. So I hope you enjoyed today. Today was a lovely day. I spent part of it, you know, on the tractor mower, you know, mowing and mulching and whatever. But I said to myself, you know, this is probably going to be the one nice day that we're going to see for a number of days to come. And I'm perusing through the maps here, and I see that I'm going to be right. It's not going to be a great day tomorrow. Not going to be nice on Thursday. Friday's not going to be anything to write home about. So I hope again all of you enjoyed today, because now we go into, as Joe loves to say, the gloom and doom weather pattern.
Gloom and doom is on the way. Yes, a lot of lightning strikes on the satellite loop tonight. As we should after we looked at the radar, this should be pretty obvious. But there's not much else other than a couple of stray cells in North Carolina and one stray cell that's moved out of northeastern Alabama into the Tennessee side. There really isn't a whole lot of action. Much of the Southwest is dry and clear, and so is much of California and to Nevada. You can see the clouds across Montana. It's just an odd system to me that it's stretched out over, you know, God, what is that, like 2,000 miles from one end to the other, east west? We've seen the circulate, and then, of course, you've got the trailing front that goes down into the Gulf states. The southern half of that now is dry because all the energy is up in the north, and clouds are starting to move into the east, and that's going to set up issues for tomorrow. Now, the Storm Prediction Center for tonight has that enhanced risk, and of course, it's playing out the way it is in Indiana, Ohio, and northern Kentucky. Marginal risk down into Virginia, North Carolina, west back to the Mississippi River, southwest down into Texas, another small area of slight risk, north and west of San Antonio and east of Del Rio. Now, tomorrow, they really, I they push the marginal risk up tomorrow, Joe, all the way up almost to Plattsburgh and into central Vermont and central New Hampshire. So covering all of New England, of southern and central New England, uh, the whole Hudson Valley, the Catskills, New York City, Long Island, all of New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, down into Virginia and eastern North Carolina. Again, it's a marginal risk, so we're talking isolated severe thunderstorms. And then we've got a big area of enhanced risk from northeast Texas to Missouri, and then east across southern Illinois, southern Indiana, all of Kentucky, much of just about all of Tennessee, and a slight risk further south as you get into Alabama and Mississippi. I am on the board. The 5% tornado risk line, Joe, is 20 miles north of my house. I'm in the 2% technically, but the 5% line is a stone's throw away from where I live, and we do have a 10% uh, risk area, which is EF2 to EF5 risk in that hatched area from Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, western and central Kentucky, northwestern and north central Tennessee. So another it looks, and also a separate 2% area in Iowa. I just want to go back to day one for tonight, and this is played out. Actually, the 5% risk line, they might have maybe should have nudged up that 10% risk line a little bit further north up into southern Michigan because that's where the bulk of the tornadoes have been. I don't remember, do you recall? Um, I'm trying to recall the last time we've seen, you know, uh, tornadic activity in Michigan. I'm sure, no, I'm sure it's happened, but it's got to have been a while.
I'm not sure whether or not we may have seen something like that with, let's say, a cold pool or an upper level disturbance that might have set something like that off. But it doesn't, it doesn't happen very often that you see that in Michigan, that is. But it's happening now. And that area that's affecting Michigan and Ohio, that's the area that, if it holds together as it moves to the east, may arrive here in the tri state area in about 12 hours. So maybe, just maybe by 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we may have to deal with some heavy showers and maybe even some rumbles of thunder. It will not obviously have the same type of intensity that these storms have now, coming off of late afternoon and early evening. This will be during the overnight that they'll be moving toward us and probably diminishing in somewhat in strength. But if we do get some convection by early tomorrow, it'll probably be related to what is happening right now over Michigan and Ohio.
Now, day three, which is Thursday into Friday, and judging from what I saw today, we mentioned yesterday about the fact that the track of this low is going to be across Ohio and Pennsylvania and maybe northern New Jersey to New York City and Long Island, and there's going to be this warm frontal boundary there, or at least that's where the models were showing it. But now it seems, at least on the last couple of runs that I looked at, that that boundary has actually shifted a bit further to the south. So the marginal risk now is up to central New Jersey, say Route 195, and southeastern Pennsylvania. Slight risk, southernmost New Jersey down to Delaware, uh, the Delmarva Peninsula, much of Virginia except the western part of the state, which is in marginal, slight to most of North, South Carolina, Georgia, across the Gulf state, the lower part of the Gulf states. Uh, this is the day three forecast, which was put out overnight and doesn't get updated until tomorrow morning at about between 2 and 3 a.m. And it also does not have a tornado risk area indicated. I'm thinking, just sort of looking with what the model guidance is showing, Joe, if we're going to wind up with a low that tracks further south, um, that severe weather risk may, well, this is for Thursday now, the severe weather risk for Thursday may certainly wind up being further south because that's going to mean more of an onshore flow.
Correct. And the onshore flow, the easterly or east southeasterly winds, something that heavy duty showers and storms do not like. And so we may end up with just some regular activity, regular showers, or maybe even a regular thunder shower as opposed to a possible severe outbreak, which is good. We don't want to have something that gets too far out of hand. But tomorrow morning, that'll be interesting to see how potent these systems that'll be moving in will be. Again, probably related to what is going on right now with all of the severe activity in Ohio and Michigan.
Rainfall wise, we're not looking at a whole lot in the next 7 days, with about a half to three quarters of an inch. So that's a plus at least. We're not going to be dealing with any flooding issues. There's some patches of an inch and a half well up into upstate New York and into Vermont. Also, in Kentucky and Tennessee, we've got an area of about an inch and a half to 2 inches being indicated there. A quarter to three quarters of an inch from Virginia down into South Carolina. And then you've got some heavier precip of up to 2 to 3 inches across the Gulf states, particularly close to the Gulf Coast. And we've got precip running up the Rockies, half to three-quarter inch amounts in Colorado, some inch and a half plus amounts in Montana. And of course, this current storm system is part of that, producing part of that. And the West is quiet from Washington State down for the most part, from Washington State down to California and east over into Arizona and Nevada. So it kind of illustrates the fact that we're going after having a trough in the West for so many weeks. That we're now going to we're going to a bit of a ridge in the western part of the United States and more troughing in the eastern part of the U.S. And that's not actually going to bode well as far if you're looking to string nice weather ahead, Mr. Rayo. This is not going to be the type of pattern to do it.
No, if you are wondering what to get Mother for her day on Sunday, if you have not already considered it, maybe you might want to get an umbrella because she certainly is going to need it before Mother's Day, and she may very well need it after Mother's Day as well, if not on her day on Sunday.
So here's what's happening here. The surface low in North Dakota backs westward into Montana. There's a long occlusion here. A long occluded, boy, that is a long occluded front. My God, look at that. I mean, it goes all the way back to a low. The new low at the point of occlusion is in northern Michigan. And this is tomorrow morning's forecast map. And of course, we've got some showers that'll probably blow through here tonight into tomorrow morning. What do you think? Maybe a thunderstorm with this warm front going by?
I think there's a distinct possibility that we may see a little bit of convection tomorrow morning, again, related to what's going on right now over the Ohio Valley. So, something to watch, especially if we stay in the warm sector.
Yeah, and snow in western Montana there in the higher elevations. Excuse me, mountain snows and valley rains. And for those of you in the southeast, in my neck of the woods, northern Georgia, western South and North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, there could be some showers or a rumble or two of thunder and scattered late tonight or early tomorrow morning. The warm front goes by. We've got a new low that forms in Indiana tomorrow, in southern Indiana, with a trailing cold front down to Arkansas. So this will be the driver for severe weather for tomorrow in the areas indicated by the Storm Prediction Center. And then the Thursday, this is what I was talking about earlier. That low was forecast to go up into western New York. Now, of course, and you talked about the fact that uh, last night about the Dr. Cohen's comment about the last gasp of the polar vortex creating a cooler pattern for the eastern part of the United States, and uh, that's going to that's why you're seeing this low actually take a track to the south, which we haven't seen in quite a while. The low goes across southern Indiana, and this is the 12Z run, by the way, into West Virginia, Maryland, and then offshore. And of course, that's going to put much of much of northern New Jersey and areas north and northeast of that in a northeast flow beginning later Thursday night into Friday. So that's going to shift. That risk area is going to be like, if it's like this, it's going to be from the Delmarva Peninsula in Maryland southward and not so much northward, in my opinion. And there's also another wave that comes out of Texas that moves across the south on Friday. So that may actually bring some rain across Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South, and North Carolina, and that goes out underneath. Uh, so it still looks like after this thing goes by on Thursday, there'll probably be some lingering rain or showers on Friday, and then Saturday looks a little better than Sunday because there looks like down this northwest flow, you got another low and trough coming down with maybe a shower or thunderstorm Saturday night into Sunday morning, and again Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening.
And as I,
They're not gonna like this.
well, as I mentioned yesterday, I mean, if it's an unsettled day on Sunday, no big deal because most of the moms out there are probably going to be inside someplace at a restaurant, hopefully, enjoying the day and enjoying the food and the company. Um, but if you made reservations to go to that restaurant and you're going to be in your car, you may be in your car a long time because traditionally there's lots of traffic on Mother's Day, and those windshield wipers, Joe, unfortunately, will probably be going uh, much of the day on Sunday with the threat of wet weather.
Yep. I'm just looking at the 18Z run, and the 18Z run has a low in southern Ohio that jumps into Virginia Thursday afternoon. Then it just sort of meanders around for a little bit as a coastal low forms well out to the east, and you got lingering showers and rain on Friday. Saturday looking better than Sunday. Some showers Saturday evening and Saturday night with a little upper trough, and then another trough and cold front for Sunday. And then that goes out, and then some slow improvement for Monday. And of course, we may go through this all over again next week with several weather systems in play. Look how blocky this is. I mean, this is ridiculous. I got to put up the surface map for whole of North America because we've got this big high. There's a 1032 high up in Labrador that builds next week. Of course, that didn't happen at all during the winter months. And look at that. It's got a low, Joe, that comes out of Oklahoma, and it can't even lift up northeastward. It actually moves across, it stalls out over Tennessee for like 24 hours. And, it's got, jeez, this is just so blocky. Where did this come from in May? Look at this. Look at this upper low. You've got all this troughing late this week and this weekend, and then as that lifts out, some energy drops down into the Rockies, and then cuts off like crazy over. This is going to be a if this is right, this would be for late next week. This could be quite an interesting round of severe weather to break out across the deep south and the southeast with this, but it's also very blocky, uh, which you usually see in May, but not maybe not in this kind of magnitude.
Joe, it always turns out, or always seems that when people start giving up on the winter in February and March and even in April, that something like this happens either at the end of April or May. It just comes. I mean, and it was wow. It was 4 years ago that we were preparing for snow. Believe it or not, we did have flurries in New York City on the 9th of May 2020, and there was actually accumulating snow. I saw on my Facebook memories that I actually made a snow map for for May the 9th.
Oh, did
First time.
you?
Excuse me?
I said, did you? I don't
Yes,
I
I
don't.
I did. I did like a double take when I saw that, but then I saw, oh yeah, May of 2020. That was the year when we had flurries again in New York City. So it happens.
By the way, it's 8:02 p.m. Eastern Time. We have another tornado warning, and this is the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located 9 miles southeast of Shelbyville, moving east at 40 miles per hour. And those are in the counties of Decatur, Rush, and Shelby County in the great state of Indiana. Again, to remind anybody, if you're watching this later on, obviously it's dated. So make sure you go to weather.gov to get the latest weather information regarding severe weather. And David Schwartz, I saw Rich Rothmansky putting up information about some severe weather warnings that are out there, and I really appreciate that you do that. Thank you very much indeed for that effort. Let's see. I have Briller Jeopardy tonight, I think.
You do? Because I thought I had it.
Well, you might have it. D-
Didn't
I
we do
have.
it? Didn't we do it last night with
Yeah,
you?
I did it last night. Yes,
Yes.
I'm a little loopy today because I've been doing uh, I've been driving back and forth from Home Depot, bringing back bags and bags of mulch. So that's where my head's been at for much of the day. And then
Yep.
I crashed on the couch about 2:30 this afternoon, and then I slept through one and a half Perry Mason episodes. So I don't know who the murderer was on two episodes. So anyway, um,
Oh,
but I'm
average
away.
average annual precipitation by state continues, and we will begin with a state that certainly has seen more than its fair share over the last 24 to 48 hours. That state being Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. I don't think it's a high number. Um, I'm gonna say uh, tw- I'll say 20.
20?
Yeah,
That's way, way,
way too
way.
low.
Yeah.
Way too low.
Well, let's see. Well, we've got Silvio Balzano with 25, Norm Roberts with 29, Christopher Alley 25. All of you are way down. I mean, that's Latex Dreams finally coming in with a decently close number 35.
Justin B says 37.
And there you go.
Really, 37. I'm kind of surprised, but you know what? I'm, I can't get them all right.
Yeah.
Christinapedia, I pay. I use cypress mulch. Okay. I don't know how much the Scott's black mulch costs here, but I use the cypress mulch, which last year was $2.97 for a bag, a big bag, and this year it's 3.47 for a big bag. So they went up by 50 cents. So
Vincent Croce on the chat board asks, how many states left?
yeah.
LOL.
Oh, we'll be doing what, five a day. What's the
Yeah.
next one?
Oregon.
Oregon. Well, you got to figure it's pretty wet on the west side and less so on the east side. Um, I'll say I'll say 45.
That's too wet, Joe.
Too wet?
And you know what? I mean, I agree with you. I'm shaking my head with this number. I say, really?
Yeah, because half the state is, half the state it rains every day, and the other half it rains every month.
Well,
So
Patrick Dorsey came very close with 29, believe it or not.
so is it 30 or 28?
Well, it's not snake country, but he's close with
Oh,
29.
um, let's see. Maggie Peace is 36.
Oh,
Helen
Helen Bertrona got it. Helen Bertrona,
27.
27.
Okay.
Now, there you go. You're right. I mean, the one side of the state is like, wet almost every day. And the other side of the state is the, what do they call it? The Columbia Basin or whatever, where it's
Something
like a
like
rain
that.
shadow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania, I will say uh, I'll say I'll say 42.
Oh, snake country.
42. Oh, okay. Um, well, 42. Then Jason Fox said 43, and so did Mike Waterhouse,
And they're right.
and so did William Uber and Chuck Cardillo and Carol DeCara.
Yep.
43.
Now,
Okay.
keeping Pennsylvania's 43 in mind, how about Rhode Island?
Uh, that's tricky too because they sometimes they get the coastal lows that give them, I gotta think it's a 40-ish number. So I'll say 45.
Uh,
A little too high.
close. No, actually, not high enough, but close.
Okay. Patrick Darcy said 46. Chuck Cardillo said 49.
Well, they have Chuck Cardillo's right there almost.
Okay. And Rich Rothmansky said 51.
Frank P is right there as well with 47. So,
47. So Vincent Croce says 48.
and there you go.
And
So
Mike
does Mike.
Waterhouse said 48. 48. Okay.
48. And
And
one last one here is South Carolina.
South Carolina,
Right.
I will say, I'm trying to remember, did we do North Carolina? And that was like was it a 50-ish number? I'll say 52.
Close. A little bit on the wet, a little bit too wet, but close.
J. John Melander said 49.
That's
Mike Waterhouse said 49.
very close.
Norm Roberts said 50.
And there it is.
And
James
William,
Davis at 50.
okay,
William
very
Hoover
good.
said 50 inches.
50.
Yes.
All right, so was that the last one for tonight?
That's it. That's it.
All right, very good. Any party, just wanted, I'll give Tornado HQ one last check. It's tornadohq.com for those of you. Right now at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got one, two, three, uh, four tornado warnings. One that expires in 5 minutes, and the other ones expire, 20 minutes or more. All of them seem to be saying, the ones that say severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. I'm going to be curious to see from that tornado warning from earlier, Joe, that went through those counties, Kalamazoo, Calhoun, and a few others. That must have been because I think I saw earlier that it started as a county, Union County in Michigan, I believe, and it kind of started there. But this may have been one of those long-lasting EF2, EF3, EF4 possibilities. I don't want to over speculate here, but it's not often that you see in these tornado warnings where they say a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado.
And we've been seeing on the internet, at least I've have the last half hour, images of hail, you know, baseball sized hail, golf ball, baseball sized. I mean, and then they're not, and they're not spheres. They're more or less, they look like they're flat. But if you were to measure them, across, they'd be on the order of what, about 2, 3, 4 inches or thereabouts.
Yeah, yeah.
Not too good if you're outside when those are coming down. So
Nope, not at all. All right, the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast brought to you by our affiliate Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is pinned to the description of this podcast. Use the coupon code Spring 2024. If you do, you will get.
10% off.
All right, so we'll see everybody. We'll see everybody. We will see everyone tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Nighty night.
Good night, folks.